What is going on, my Guardian gamers? It is I, Birdman, back here with another Titan video, and today we're going to be showing off one of, I think, the most sleeper buffs that were added for the Season 23 update to the Precious Scars. Entire setup based around that using Strand, you might be shocked. But before we get into the video, I needed to let you know that if you give a thumbs up and comment on the video, it really helps us out in the algorithm. Let me know what you're interested in seeing down below, whether it's Titan, Hunter, or Warlock. Subscribe, become a member, and follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Birdman778. Let's jump right on into it. Now, we always got to start with the exotic that we're going to be using for this, and that's going to be the Precious Scars. Now, again, I mentioned it kind of got a buff to it, some things added into it. Originally, it just read, after reviving or being revived, you gain an aura that provides overshields to you and nearby allies, which is really great for in-game content. It was one that I genuinely did enjoy, you know, for like GMs and stuff like that. But they added on to it, and it now reads Kensuke. Final blows from weapons with a damage type matching your subclass energy creates a burst of healing around you that grants allies restoration. Now, this restoration buff is going to be about a 3-second buff, and you are going to get that extra healing. So this is just really nice, again, like I mentioned, for that endgame content, because you're going to constantly heal as you kill, and it's also going to help benefit your allies as well. Again, add on top of there the fact that, again, whenever you revive an ally or they revive you, you're going to get an overshield. You are absolutely juiced. For the subclass and everything I'm using for it, first off, Blade Fury, obviously have to use it, but it's also probably the best, Titan super in my opinion in the game, at least best roaming super, that is. It doesn't get as many benefits as it would from like Synthoceps with it right now, but at the same time, it's still a really juicy super. I've been going with the Towering Barricade just because I like a little extra damage resistance and stuff like that, but at the same time, the smaller one's great just because of all of those buffs it gives to your reload stability and range, and also the shorter cooldown. Definitely use that Frenzy Blade as much as you can because it's going to sever those targets, making sure that they are going to be doing way less damage. And also you get like 3 uses of it, and using this is going to help out one of our aspects as well. Now, when it comes to grenade, I definitely recommend Shackle Grenade. I think it kind of helps out the end game part of this probably the most, but I know a lot of people have been using that Grapple Grenade. It's definitely very juicy. Again, I just think Shackle, at least for this setup, kind of benefits it more since it's a very gun-focused build. Now, for our aspects, first off, Banner of War is an absolute must. Defeat a target with a melee attack, finisher, or sword to raise Banner of War that pulses with energy, periodically healing nearby allies, increasing melee and sword damage. Targets defeated by you and nearby allies charge the banner, increasing the speed of its pulses. Now, this is an absolute must. You have to put this on because, again, it's going to add on that healing, essentially give you 2 different options to consistently heal. If you melee and do finishers and stuff like that, you're going to be getting healing from doing that, or you can constantly shoot your definitely Strand weapon as much as you humanly want to get the restoration from the Precious Scars. This adds to just like really great, just like well-rounded build in my opinion. Now, for the second one, this is kind of one I think you can go back and forth on. Into the Fray, destroying a tangle or casting your super grants Woven Mail for nearby allies and yourself. While you have Woven Mail, your melee regen rate is increased, so this is just great for flowing around. But I will say, if you're noticing that you're just like having trouble with like champs and stuff like that, you can put on the Dringer's Lash instead, so that it gives you your ability, your barricade, that suspension effect, kind of giving you just like another way to just kind of like stop enemies in their tracks. For the fragments, I recommend Threat of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. Great way to constantly get that shackle. Threat of Mind, defeating suspended targets grants class ability energy. We're going to be constantly doing that, especially with our shackle grenade, so it's going to really help out keeping that flow between those 2 things. Threat of Warding, picking up an overpower grants Woven Mail, essentially inserting that we're constantly going to have that Woven Mail and also constantly having that melee regenerate. And then Threat of Fury, damaging targets with the Tangle grants melee energy, constantly ensuring again that we're going to keep up that severing strike. Now, when it comes to a weapon that you got to use, obviously this was kind of an easy one with the Quicksilver Storm. It's definitely one of the best DPS options in the game. Also, whenever you get the catalyst for it, it becomes a Strand weapon, so it's going to flow perfectly with the Precious Scars. The Rocket Tracers, landing multiple hits turns your next shot into a homing micro rocket, is a great part for that DPS, and also it does Strand damage, so we definitely love that. And also for the fact that Grenade Chaser, landing multiple rockets loads a grenade. This is really great for champs, just adding another kind of like option for high damage against them, especially whenever they are stunned. And like I mentioned before, you definitely want to get the catalyst. Note that it also has the ability final blows with grenades from this weapon creates tangles, again just flowing into the rest of this build. Now when it comes to the mods and armor you're going to be wanting to use for this setup, first off, on your helmet, I recommend a heavy ammo finder, always a great one, just especially again this season with abilities kind of getting an overall nerf with like cooldowns and stuff like that. I think using your heavy as much as you can is definitely going to be way more beneficial. So this is one I recommend. Harmonic Siphon, just to match that subclass element, giving us that Strand orb of power on our final blows. And then I picked a Dynamo actually. Then this is kind of a different one. You probably could go with a hands-on instead, but I think this is just a little bit more beneficial, especially in the end game part of it, where we're going to be activating our barrier a lot more to constantly block out shots. On our gloves, I recommend impact induction, causing damage with your powered melee, reduce your grenade cooldown. We're going to be doing a lot of that. A focus strike, so that we get our barrier back a little bit faster with those powered melee attacks. And then a heavy handed, so that whenever we get kills with that severing strike, we're going to get an orb of power from that. So definitely beneficial for the armor charges section of this build. On our chest piece, I did a concussive dampener. You can kind of change this out and honestly probably throw on this next mod charged up if you really feel like it, so you get those 6 stacks of armor charges for you, so you're constantly able to keep up high damage with what we're going to see on our boots next. Now on our boots, I'd recommend a double strand weapon surge. I think again this is a weapon focused build. We're trying to get as many kills as we can with our weapons so that we're constantly keeping up that healing. So having that is definitely beneficial. And then I did an elemental charge so that whenever we break those strand tangles, we are going to get an armor charge from them. So again, kind of keeping up this flow right here. And then finally on our Titan mark, a powerful attraction to pull on those orbs whenever we activate our barricade, a Reaper so that we get an orb power on our next kill when we do it, and then also an outreach so we get some melee regen back whenever we activate that barrier. Now when it comes to the artifact, definitely want to snag that from whence you came, so you're getting that extra damage taken and scoring combatants, especially with the dungeon coming out here soon. It's going to be score and focus, and I think it's also going to have take it in there, so absolutely one you want to have. In that second column, I definitely recommend wish into being, so that whenever you get those ability final blows, whenever you have your supercharge, you get orbs power, again feeding into this build a little bit more. Unraveling orbs, picking up orb power grants strand weapons unraveling rounds, a very easy one to do, just constantly keeping up that destruction on enemies, and also that helps us against barrier champions as well, so definitely a beneficial one. And then Dragon's Bite is one I picked up. Breaking a combatant's shield with a strand or stasis weapon has a chance to suspend or freeze them. This is actually really kind of sleeper good because it's going to do it to any target no matter what their shield is, so definitely beneficial. Now I haven't gotten over here yet, but that Horde shuttle is definitely going to be a beneficial one. Damaging unravel targets, which we're immediately going to get from that unraveling orbs, will spawn threadlings, so they're going to be doing us some damage. And then also that solar operative, so you're getting that extra damage, especially whenever you're doing solo content. I always like to mention how this is beneficial for endgame content. First off, with the barrier, obviously you're going to be able to unravel targets because of the unraveling orb artifact that we have. For unstoppable, we have our shackle grenade to suspend them, so easy one there. And then finally for an overload, this season the auto rifle is the overload option, so Quicksilver Storm is absolutely perfect. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hope you guys really enjoy it. Again, let me know some stuff that you're interested in seeing down below, whether it is Titan, Hunter, or Warlock, and make sure you give it a thumbs up. That really helps us out in the algorithm, especially at the start of season when, you know, there's a lot of people also making different builds and stuff. Having all eyes on us is always an important thing, so I just appreciate the support, everyone. And again, subscribe to the channel and become a member to get your name at the end of the video. Again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.